story is called Corn on the Cob. Sweet songbird notes in the morning were rudely interrupted by sickening screams. The man cried out in horror, his life flashing before his eyes. Was it really worth it? He wondered. Worrying all those years spent on conspiracy theory videos were wasted. Was this his fate as the Green Man? To be martyred? Is this a nightmare? Jake opened his eyes and stretched, his fiancée Sarah on his side. They had fallen asleep together, like usual, and Jake was happy. His little corn soldier kept him from admiring her for too long, though, as he had to piss super bad. And then this says Ohio, and there's a corn cob, but it's in negative because I have this on night mode. So it's not yellow. It's blue and Eerie. Once the pee situation was taken care of, Jake set out to get ready for the day. He had a stream tonight that he was kind of dreading, to be honest. He normally didn't dread streams, but lately, something had been on his mind. Was he satisfied with his content? Did he need to be? At the end of a day, he's an entertainment streamer, and he's entertaining people, right? Or maybe he was just dreading the trash for the night, and it was turning into insecurity? He made a mental note to recheck the trash section of the Discord to see if anyone had posted something new. Otherwise, it was Greg for the evening. Oh, Greg. Greg sure was a good laugh, but Jake didn't know if he was in the right mood for his nonsense today. Regardless, he had quite a few hours until the stream tonight, so he returned to Sarah's side and woke her up. Fade to black. Different scene. The walrus put on his show pants and picked out a nice cold beer for his stream. Beer gurgled down his throat, thick and bitter. The nausea from waking up was starting to go away, and Dave was almost ready to go live. He ran his fingers through his hair and beard and sat down on his chair, a puff of air releasing as his ass touched the chair. Dave was oblivious to this, but this puff of air smelled sickly and damp with a touch of sweaty balls. Eventually, he turned on the camera, then went live. His heart rate steadily increased over time, his vision turning blurry, his eardrums swelling with hate. Dave hated streaming, but it was the only thing he thought he was good at. And fame was an added bonus. Dave never expected to be famous. He didn't hate it, but he was still getting used to it. He even told his mom once, but she scoffed at him. She said he was barely even famous. I mean, famous? She asked. When Dave told her it was because he was discovered a few years ago by a streamer named Actual Jake, she didn't know what to say at first. She wanted to reassure him that everything would be all right. But then she realized Dave was proud. He seemed to think he accomplished something momentous, like he was in Hollywood. She didn't have the heart to tell Dave otherwise, and so she let him go on with his fantasy. Famous. Is this like a chat? Is this like a chat? Ongoing Dave discourse. It is what it is. It's in. Oh, this is taking place like a play inside the Discord. I'm going to do my best voice impressions of the cast members as if I was doing a Shakespearean play. This is Iron Gullet. Dave is live again, back in the show pants. Lol. McPlatypus. Will someone record it? He's got a platypus mouth. Will someone record it? We need some good dingo for tonight. Poonage. Already on it, mate. That's what Australians sound like. And Sprite Painter says, can't wait. This is a quote.
Again! I don't know how many times I have to tell you. Jake will never be as Sigma as me. I will have this cook-off if it's the last thing I do.
And with that, Dave rage quit.
Again!
And turned off his stream. He could feel the blood rushing through his veins, his head pounding. Hopefully, he went live long enough for Jake to watch him. But in reality, he had been ending his streams early lately for a different reason. The Walrus had plans tonight. And with a man, no less. After getting himself ready and out of his show pants, Dave grabbed his condoms and left. It's nice. It's nice that he was doing a little safe sex. That's nice of David to consider himself, the sexual health of himself and his partners. That's good for him. Hey, chat! Jake said, in his voice perfectly masking any insecurities he may have felt earlier in the day, or even all of the dread for watching Greg he had deep inside. He patted himself on the back mentally for keeping himself so composed, but then something weird got linked in chat. Greg's dead? That's my voice. His face went slightly slack. He was in shock. On Greg's community tab was a very simple message. Greg from Armored Skeptic will no longer be making videos. He has been brutally murdered. Murdered? I mean, sure, Greg was a shitty guy, but did he deserve to be murdered? Jake instinctively looked to his chat to see what they had thought. Here's the chat. Here's the chat log. Annie Bean 17. What? Singing Reaper. Holy shit, guys! Quebeca. Usually with it would say, I could drink cum by the gallons loads, and then it would say, I can't believe it. Brooke Bobbles, Brooke got. She's pretty. She's pretty. Everyone knows about Brooke's street roots. Bro got. Okay, this is in my voice. Yeah. Well, you guys see this too, right? Greg's been murdered, huh? He chuckled weakly, realizing that all of a sudden his worries about watching Greg were disappearing. I guess it would be in poor taste to watch him for trash, since he just died and everything. Jake used his signature charm to get chat moving in a new direction, and he settled into watching Dave's cooking show for the day. At least he had a good dingo planned for later. Whoa. We're in a... Okay. Scene change. Shad screamed. His hand fell onto the door. His hand! Where it was, there was nothing but air and jagged bone. He didn't know why this was happening to him. He knew what was in store, but before he drew his last breath, he wondered, what was that all worth? I can't do a fucking... How do Australians say? Was it all worth it? My channel's dying. That person's goal was being fulfilled. Little by little, the numbers ticked down. Dapperton screamed like a teenage girl before seeing the light. Matt Walsh cried for his mother. Even Ben Shapiro lost his composure, stuttering and spitting. What's happening? There's a mystery. 3 weeks later. Guess it's time for another dingo, eh, guys? Jake wasn't dumb. He had recognized the pattern. Someone or something was targeting his chuds. The chatters had been making jokes that it wasn't even Jake himself doing it, but he shut that down right away. He didn't need an investigation pending because someone was trying to frame him or something. So for now, since he needed an income, Jake was covering almost exclusively Dave. The trash hole had dried up, as he liked to say. Dave had made a margarita ice cream gloop concoction, which was currently on the screen, and chat had finished Dave's cooking show for the night. Then, a message from Sarah came through the chat. Darwin is gone. Stop the stream. Jake rushed to her side, failing to stop the stream the way he thought he did. Chat ran wild, and Jake quickly returned to the computer with a weird letter made out of cut-up pieces of magazines and newspapers, like they do in cheesy movies. The letter said, Hello, Jakey Poo. I have your precious Darwin. Come to the point marked on this map to save him. Be prepared. Attached to the note was a crumpled up condom, still in the wrapping. Jake held up the note in front of the screen, showing stream one last time. I might be gone after this chat. Whoever's been messing with our chuds has Darwin, and I gotta go. If you never see me again, this is why.
If I, was gay or something.
He was mostly joking. Jake told himself, mostly joking. Surely, whoever this was, wasn't actually dangerous. Right? When Jake arrived at the place on the map, he was at the edge of the cliff overlooking a town a few miles away. When he saw his darling boy, Darwin, in a cage at the end of the road and felt his body filling with rage. Then out from some trees came the last person he was expecting to see. Dave.
Never thought we'd actually meet, huh?
The walrus cackled, his beard matted with blood. Behind him, Dave dragged a table with 3 people tied to it in chairs. It appeared to be an older man, an older woman, and a woman his age.
These are my family, Dave said. The only people I trust in the world. They will be our judges in the ultimate cook-off.
On the table were 2 very small Easy Bake ovens and 2 Lunchable packages for pepperoni pizza. Jake tried not to laugh. He would have if his darling Darwin wasn't in danger. Why don't I run to Darwin and away from this cook-off?
I couldn't think of a better way for us to cook all the way out here,
said Dave, almost beneath his breath. Probably through his teeth.
I couldn't think of a better way for us to cook all the way out here.
Jake just barely heard him, but didn't protest. He knew what he had to do. Use his pizza skills to make an objectively better pizza than Dave. Then his family would choose his own pizza, and Darwin would be free. Nefarious. So with all his might, Jake toasted the dough and tomato sauce in the Easy Bake Oven, even overdoing it a bit to allow for some color on the pizza. Then he melted on the cheese the best he could with the tiny amount of heat in a toy. Dave proudly presented the food to his family, knowing in his heart that his family would always stay loyal to him and choose his food. Then he would finally win his cook-off that Jake is constantly taunting him with. That's true. I do constantly taunt him with a cook-off.
Well, was the first or second pizza better?
Dave's words hung on the air far too long as his family chewed the overly tough dough.
The first one was better, David,
his mother said with a weak smile. She hoped she was voting for whoever this Jake person was, so Dave would finally have someone tell him what a bad cook he is. The rest of the family nodded along, agreeing with her. Dave started to laugh. Joker laugh, if you will.
You really thought you could beat me?
Dave questioned Jake, who was starting to get nervous. His eyes kept glancing back at Darwin, so much so to the point that he forgot. He was the first pizza! ADHD happened. Wait, he cried. I was the first pizza. Dave stopped laughing.
You were the first pizza? My family didn't choose my food.
Dave fell to his knees, clutching his chest. Jake ran to Darwin and rescued the good boy. Jake fled the scene because he could tell nothing good was going to happen from being there, and he was right. Dave had a heart attack that night and never glooped again. Now that Jake had no chuds or Dave to cover, he took some time off to spend with Sarah and Darwin. While incompetent, Dave still did serious damage. The only reason the police didn't catch him sooner was because of his odd way of killing. He would leave unopened condoms at the scene and sometimes open them to use as gloves. It was never discovered why he brought these condoms, as Dave often protested at the idea of him being gay. Was it to throw off investigations, or was it a calling card? The only thing we know for sure is that the condoms were XX small sized, which is extra, extra small, and more of this size were found in Dave's drawer at home, covered in butter and Coors Light. The end.
art! That's art!
Good work, everyone.